Civil War!
Ooh.
Hey everybody! So this is my spoiler and spoiler-free review of Captain America Civil War.
Civil fucking War!
I'm joined by Matt, Sexy Matt, the Pharaoh Wizard.
Always.
And we are going to do the first part of this is spoiler-free. So we'll talk only trailers and impressions and stuff. And then I'll warn you and we'll get into a spoiler section and we'll just go full hog on everything.
Is it a spoiler to say Abraham Lincoln died at the end of the Civil War?
Oh, dude, now we have to edit and post. Edit and post.
Edit and post. All right, we gotta get a clacker. All right.
Don't give away Lincoln's death. So, Captain America Civil War, was it better than Batman v Superman? Hell yes.
Absolutely, without even a doubt.
10 times. They had at least 4 times the characters.
Yeah.
And they still managed to put together a story that made sense.
Exactly. Ridiculous. Which is kind of funny. Like, we laugh at it now. Like, obviously it was better. But, I don't know, I want to say like a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer, I made a movie or video talking about how I think Civil War would be better than Batman v Superman. And you can see in the trailers people getting pissed. Like, no fucking way. Batman vs. Superman is going to be the best movie ever. I was right. I don't want to say I'm the Jesus of comic book movies, but you've never seen me and comic book Jesus in the same room at the same time.
There you go. I wasn't sure about Civil War or Batman v Superman, which would be better, until I saw the trailers.
Yeah.
Once I saw the trailers, I knew Civil War was going to blow it away, because the second trailer for BVS was just horrid.
That was awful.
But Civil War was making me happy every time. The humor was on point.
Oh, yeah.
All of the characters had their own time. They gave them their own time to shine, which is great. No one felt left out. They did focus on Captain America, so it is considered a Captain America movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was kind of afraid that they would just make it Avengers 3.
Right.
And put it under the Captain America thing, and it kind of was that, but the story did focus on Captain America and Bucky.
Yeah, I think it's eventually moving towards not naming sequels after heroes anymore, where it's just going to be, Civil War and just Infinity Wars.
Right.
As long as it's not like an origin, if it's like a sequel, they're probably just going to be just making movies. I think. I don't know. It could be totally off base, but that's what I'm thinking, because there's a lot more crossover going on now than before.
But all in all, I loved it. I thought it was good. There were a couple of things I had problems, nitpicky things, which we'll get into in spoilers. But I would give it a 9 out of 10.
For doing out of 10, I would give it a PBR out of 10.
2 PBR out of 10?
PBR out of 10. Now, it was, fantastic. Doctor Strange got his work cut out for it.
Yeah,
Between this and Deadpool, the bar for comic book movies this year is
through the roof.
Just astronomical.
Yeah, now we got Suicide Squad coming up. There's so much pressure on that movie now, especially for Warner Brothers after what happened with Batman v Superman.
Yep.
But let's get into some spoilers. So, spoiler-free, we loved it.
Yes.
I give it 9 out of 10. I say go watch it. Awesome movie.
Absolutely.
Now, spoilers. You've been warned. We're giving stuff away.
All the spoilers.
All the spoilers. So, Spider-Man might be looking like this in the future.
So, yeah, Tony Stark did design his costume that we see in the movie, which is it's a great nod to the comic itself, because he made that in the Civil War comic for Spider-Man. So it's kind of a nice, it's not that exact costume, but it's a nice nod towards that happening.
Right. And I thought Tom Holland did great.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite Spider-Man.
Now, everyone's been saying they did a better Spider-Man in the 5 minutes that he was in it than 5 movies have done.
I think he had 15 minutes, but
Yeah.
he was the best Spider-Man out of all the movies, and it's pretty crazy. But Holland had the humor, and it was constant. It wasn't just like one scene to show that he can be funny.
Right.
Like he was talking smack and just being a teenager like the whole time.
Yeah.
Like when he catches the Winter Soldier's arm, and he's like, "Whoa, your arm's made of metal? That's so cool!" Like, but he's showing that he's stronger than that Winter Soldier, and just like nonchalant about it. He's like, "Dude, I love your arm."
Yeah.
And you can see on Bucky's face, like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, no, he broke up the battle very well. He wasn't the only one that had funny lines, but he was like the best. Like, it could have been a really overbearingly intense scene if it was played straight.
Right.
But they threw in enough comedy, especially from Spider-Man, that it
And
worked out.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Spider-Man, Ant-Man, and some of the other interactions. Like, I really like the interaction between Hawkeye and...
Black Widow.
Thank you.
Alright.
Black Widow, when they were fighting.
I do that when I think Black Widow
Yeah.
too.
I think a lot of comic guys do, but when they're fighting each other, and she's like, "We're still friends, right?" He's like, "Depends on how hard you hit." And that was one of the things I was worried about in the movie, with having all of these heroes fighting each other. Are they all going to, like, now they're just against each other, or are they going to show that they have differing opinions, but they're not full out trying to kill each other. They're just trying to stop each other.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite things, is the way it ended, because about halfway through the movie, when they're really getting into it with each other, it's like, are they going to like solve this at the end and be buddies again? Because usually when you get out in an all-out brawl in an airport with your buddy, you're usually not, buddies anymore.
You don't talk for a good month or so. You let things cool down. Yeah, I didn't want them to be like, "Oh, it's all right. Movie's over."
I was a little worried they were going to do that, like
Yeah.
sitcom finishing, where everything's back to normal at the end.
But they didn't,
no,
thank God.
They did not do that.
Now, Ant-Man became Giant Man.
He did become Giant Man, and it was great.
It was awesome. I loved it. I was on when he said, "Hey, I'm gonna try something I haven't done before." I'm like, "Oh, are they gonna go there?" And then like, boom! I was like, "Yes!"
I had it semi-spoiled, so I knew it was coming just because Funko made a pop figure of Giant Man that was the style of Scott Lang from the movie. And I was like, oh, so they're going to do a Giant Man. But, that wasn't like a huge... Like, I was actually more waiting for it because I was like, because you didn't see it yet at all, except for the pop Funko, which, that's not giving you any clues.
Right.
But yeah, you see that coming. It was great. And again, that's another great nod, which that's where DC needs to take some notes, is when you're adapting something that you can't do word for word, you can do quiet, nice nods and not destroy your movie over it.
Right.
And Giant Man was a big plot point within the Civil War comics, so that's a really good nod towards that, to have that pop up in there. It didn't end the same way. It didn't, it wasn't at all the same version of Giant Man, but it's just to say, like, hey, we did read this comic.
And they did have a good, funny Spider-Man joke in there where he's starting to wrap the legs, and he's like, "Remember that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back, where they, like, they were on that snow planet thing, and they with the walkers?" Iron Man's like, "I feel old." But he's got a point.
My favorite joke from the airport scene, though, is after Spider-Man webbed up both Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and the Falcon's just laying there next to the Winter Soldier like, "I hate you."
I hate you.
I don't know, something about that. Just like, God.
Dude, Falcon, when the other movies, I liked him. I thought he was cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cool character, but he seemed very much like a side character.
Yeah.
He really shined in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
They brought in his sightseeing bird, even though it's not a real bird this time. It's a machine. But
I think in the comics, I know at least in the Ultimate Universe, it is a machine again. It's a drone.
Oh, okay.
It did start in the old school comics as his pet bird. But yeah, no, seeing that, I was like, holy crap, they did it!
Yeah,
They
that was awesome.
They got his little bird sidekick.
And they it really boosted like his superhero-ness. Like he's not just a guy with a jetpack.
Right.
You know, he's a lot more powerful, a lot more skilled.
Oh, they did a lot with him. I mean, him doing the little shielding thing, the little parkour thing where he does a flip while he's closing it and throws some dudes around. Yeah, he's kicking some ass.
Yeah, and I like some of the moves where he's like he's flying in and he'll like shut the wings off to do something and then turns them back on and goes. Like,
yeah.
He's really utilizing what he has. And so I was impressed with Falcon. I thought that they did more than I thought they would. I thought they were just going to have him there as another hero to fight, but not really give him much.
Now, I think they gave everybody enough room to where no one felt extraneous. Everyone had a moment where they needed to be there.
And and everybody had a reason.
Yeah.
Like they had a motivation.
Right.
Which is why we didn't see Thor or Hulk.
Yeah.
I was going to say He-Man for some reason.
Well, we didn't have He-Man.
We didn't have He-Man either.
Dolph Lundgren was nowhere to be found.
But no Hulk or Thor, and I thought that was a good decision because I couldn't really see how you would fit them in.
No, and it's going to work because they're going to team up in Ragnarok.
Right.
So they're off doing their own thing, which is something they missed in Phase 2, which a lot of people bitched about, is where's this guy during Iron Man 3? Where's this guy during Winter Soldier? And I think Phase 3, they're going to take that really into account of where are these other people. It's things like Robert Downey's been cast for the Spider-Man solo movie. Like obviously there's going to be discussion of where these people have been. Mm-hmm. The only thing I do think it missed out on, just a line or two of nodding to the Netflix thing would have been nice. Because there's really nothing that ties into Netflix at all. And being that this is a big, like, people with powers need to, be controlled kind of thing, you'd think, like, hey, what about that dude that's, murdering people with a giant gun down in Hell's Kitchen? We should look into that.
Yeah, and the fans want to see a merger between the Netflix shows and the movies.
Right.
Because Daredevil and Jessica Jones are huge hits.
Yeah.
And then we've got Luke Cage coming out, Iron Fist, Punisher. Am I missing something?
Iron Fist, Punisher. Well, Defenders. They're all going to be together.
So, I mean, they should get together. Plus, you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you have Agent Carter, but that's getting canceled, we found out today.
Yeah, well, that one's easily not... That's why I like that more as a show, not to go totally off topic, but that one can't really tie into the movies because it happened so far in the past.
Yeah.
That it kind of works that way, although I'd love to see more Haley Atwell at any point. Just in life in general.
Make her a great-grandchild that looks exactly the same or
there
something.
We go. The Back to the Future rules where all your ancestors look just like you.
Exactly. Now, one of the problems I had when I was watching the movie, the bad guy was thin, but he did have a good motivation.
Yeah.
And it was more of just a way of getting everyone together and against each other. But it did feel kind of... But at the same time, I don't know what they could do that would be any more grandiose without taking away from everything else.
Right.
So I think they hit a happy medium with him.
I think so.
But he spent all this time planning everything, and when I was watching the movie, they had a scene where he left the dead body and all these clues in a hotel.
Right.
And when I first saw that, I was like, this guy has been really careful this whole time, and he just leaves a dead body and these random things in the hotel. And then later I find out, no, he left them there on purpose to get them to go to this other place where he had them... where he could show the truth and cause the real rift. However, how did he know that those three would be the only ones there?
Yeah.
Like, how would he know if everybody showed up?
Right, yeah, if they would have patched things up all of a sudden and just attacked. Yeah.
Right. Like, it seemed like a huge gamble.
Yeah.
Instead of... Because the rest of his plot was extremely well planned. You would think he would plan the ending as well as everything else.
Right. Well, I'm torn on Baron Zemo. On one hand, he had a really good plan, and it actually worked, really. His end goal was completed. He wanted to destroy the Avengers. It's exactly what he did. Mm-hmm. But nothing about him screamed Baron Zemo. Like, you could name him anything, literally anything else, and it would have been the same character.
Right.
Like, it's almost just like...
Are they planning on bringing him back as the comic book Zemo?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but it's just like...
They left him alive.
I don't know. This is like a terrible thing for a comic fan to say, but this would have been a good moment to just introduce a new guy.
Right.
Just to, like, this is this guy. Because, yeah, he was integral to the plot and not extraneous, but yeah, there's nothing about him that's like, oh, that's Baron Zemo. It's just a guy.
No, it's just a guy who had the name Zemo.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone that doesn't know the comics would still have no idea who that guy is.
Right, because Zemo is not a very big character.
And it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
With the plot.
Exactly. So that was I'm a little torn on that one. I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve. It's just something I can't get over in my mind, and my mind just won't let me. Is Aunt May is fuckable now? Because
she is super hot.
She is played by the world's most attractive over 50-year-old woman of all time ever.
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei, who still looks incredible at 51.
And they even made a joke about it, where Iron Man, he's like, your super hot aunt.
Yeah. Which is also funny. I don't remember the name of the movie, but they played love interests in another movie. Robert Downey.
Yeah, they did
Tomei.
back in the 80s or something. But yeah, I mean, Tony Stark even commenting,
yeah,
dude, your aunt's really hot.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's not bad. It's just, I can't, my mind won't fit that
I always
I want to have sex with Aunt May.
Every time I think of Aunt May, I think of the 80-year-old white-haired lady.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the age that Spider-Man is as a teenager, it makes sense that she would be his aunt.
Well, and also,
age-wise and
and also, aunts is like it's a relative term. I mean, if your mom has an aunt that's 12 years younger than her, or has a sister that's 12 years younger than her, you could have a really young aunt. It's really possible, and it happens all the time. So it's obviously something you don't think about, but it's just kind of like, yeah. But yeah, she's always been characterized as the old white-haired lady.
But
excuse me.
I would like to see some more Marissa Tomei.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
Well, I don't know how much more of her you can really see at this point. You've seen just about everything.
The wrestler on loop.
Which started all the great memes.
Right.
Aunt May had to support
Yeah,
Peter.
they totally ran with that one. Black Panther.
Yes, he was great. Fantastic.
I love the costume.
Yes.
It looked awesome.
Yeah. Now, they're finally getting really into comic accurate costumes. Like, even Marvel kind of had some issues with it early on. I mean, of course the Iron Man suit looks like the Iron Man suit, but like Hawkeye is never really comic accurate. Mm-hmm. Black Widow's a little off, but yeah, Black Panther costume and Spider-Man. But Black Panther costume, so good.
And
retractable claws.
Black Panther costume, it looked so good.
Yeah.
Like, just clean. I liked the spikes looked great. The lines on the face looked great. Everything about it, I love the costume. So one of the things I was worried about is they would just shoehorn Black Panther in there.
You're right.
But at the same time, I didn't want an origin story because we're going to get his movie.
Right.
So I was like, well, what do you do to give you enough character of him to where he's not shoehorned, but at the same time not just do a Black Panther movie?
Right.
And I think they did that very well. Like, they had the motivation of his father dying,
yeah,
and him, like, basically blind raging wanting to get Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And then his character has a nice arc through the whole movie.
Yeah, no, he's done really well. Yeah, he doesn't feel extraneous at all. Black Panther's almost one you don't have to do much of an origin for. He's a protector of Wakanda. You don't know anything about Wakanda, so you're just like, cool, that's fine.
And we got to see it at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So they did set up his movie very well.
It should interest people that don't know him enough to want to see more of him.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, here's everything about this guy, so you don't need to see that other movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
so I was very happy with Black Panther, and very, very well acted. The actor, and I can't remember his name, I'm so sorry.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But he was talking about how he came up with the accent, because, it's a fictional land.
Right.
And so him and the actor that played his father, they like bounced accents off of each other until they found one that they thought sounded really well, and so they organized their accents to be similar. And I thought it came out very well. I loved the way that he sounded.
I don't know. I think they should have gone with a really racist Swedish accent.
Oh.
I'm the Black Panther. You don't know. Wakanda could have been founded by the Swedes.
It could, even though there's no. I don't know.
But no, that's just great attention to detail. And while we're on Black Panther, I think it's official that Michael B. Jordan's going to be in the Black Panther movie.
Really?
Yeah.
As what?
They didn't say it. There you go. And it's directed by the guy that did Creed. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like him. Coogler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coogler did. Oh, Creed was a great movie.
So yeah, Black Panther's already just got a stellar lineup.
It's got a lot of good talent behind it. And the lady that was like his assistant, she only had like one scene.
Right.
But she had so much badassness in her one scene that I'm like, I hope she's in the Black Panther movie because I want to see her kick some butt. Like,
right.
She really felt like a threat to Black Widow.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, I want to see that fight.
Oh yeah, that was good.
And then one of the other complaints I had was the first 20 minutes, the first fight scenes were too much shaky cam. And at first I was disappointed. I'm like, oh, please not through the whole movie. But it was just those first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then all the fight scenes after that were very, very well filmed, especially the airport ending sequence.
Yeah, and along with that, they kill off Crossbones really quickly.
Very fast.
And they took time to set him up in another movie just to axe him off right away. It seems.
And his character was
very
awesome.
odd. Yeah.
I love the punchers.
Like they could have tied him and Zemo together, like just more gotten rid of Zemo and used him with like another actor for where they have to show his face or whatever, like in the interrogation scene or something.
Right.
But have Crossbones pulling the strings all the time. I think that could have worked.
But
yeah.
it
It worked. I mean, it didn't break the movie at all.
No.
I mean, it was just like a little like, oh, he's gone now. Okay.
Well, and the last 2 hours of the movie were so good, you kind of forgot about the first 20 minutes.
Right.
So that's why I gave it a 9 out of 10. Is it wasn't perfect, but I mean it was pretty damn close. It was
Yeah.
as close as I think you could have gotten, unless you filmed those fight scenes in the beginning better. It almost felt like it was directed by someone else.
Yeah.
The first 20 minutes, like a second unit director or something.
Yeah, it was the second unit director really trying to show his chops.
Right. I don't know, but yeah, loved it.
Yeah, good stuff.
So how did the movie match up with the comic books? Are there like some really extreme, annoying differences, or are they understandable differences?
Now, what it is, the best way to characterize it is they took the idea of the Civil War comic and applied it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, like, the Ultimate Universe is a re-envisioning of the entire Marvel Universe in modern times without all the backstory.
Right.
And they did the Black Suit saga. But they did it where it made sense within that universe. They didn't just carbon copy the old Black Suit Spider-Man saga. And this is that exact same situation where they did the story, but they made it fit in the universe. They didn't try and jam it, you know, not to compare it again to Batman vs. Superman, but they didn't jam it somewhere where it didn't belong.
Doomsday!
They contoured the story around what they've already built.
Right.
And it really worked out. And like I said, there's all these little nods to it, but it's definitely real. It's really not word for word at all. You don't have to read the comic to understand this, and don't expect to read the comic and get this exact same story.
Right. Now, are the motivations similar?
Pretty close. It was Iron Man was on the pro-registration side, although instead of calling it the Sokovia Accords, it's called the Superhero Registration Act. But that
would be a little too close to the X-Men.
Yeah, I think so. So he was on pro, like, hey, we need to have government control. But and Captain was on the opposing side, where it's like, hey, we're doing this on our own money, our own time, out of our own good hearts. why do we have to have people watching over us? Just let us do our thing.
Well, that and whenever the government gets involved, things get funky.
Get messy, yes.
Well, and I went into the movie with thinking I would be Team Cap.
Right.
Like, I was all on board Team Cap. And then after, a lot of people said, oh, well, you might switch your mind during the movie because they have some really good motivations. I didn't. I never actually switched sides. I was always Team Cap because I agree that the government should not be in control of much of anything. But what I do like is every character's motivations are clear.
Yes.
Everybody has very clear motivations of why they believe the way they believe, and they can argue it very well.
Yeah. No, that's a definite credit to the writing in this, is that so being that it was called Captain America Civil War, I was planning on he's our protagonist, so we're obviously supposed to agree with Captain. But once they had that amazing debate scene, which I enjoyed almost as much as the airport scene, surprisingly, the Captain or Iron Man's side is brought up very convincingly and an understandable side, and both sides had very good points, and it was just very well done to where you can attribute like a two-sided, there's no right answer arguments. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like you said, every person chose their side for a very specific reason, although Spider-Man's is a little more just like, hey, Iron Man called me in. Like, I don't know if they really like...
well, but his motivations are true, too. He's a poor teenage kid from New York, and a billionaire walks in, and he's offering to send him to college for free and all this other stuff.
Right.
He's like, I'm just here to impress Mr. Stark, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not bad.
He's 16. Like,
yeah, it's not bad, but he obviously doesn't look like he gives two shits about the Sokovia Accords.
No, he doesn't care. He doesn't even, I don't even think he knows what's going on. He's just whatever, like, I'm just here to make sure you don't go over there. That's about it.
Yeah.
Vision and Scarlet Witch.
That was good.
I liked seeing Vision in clothes.
The awkward robot sweater.
Yes. Because in the comics he wore clothes for some of it.
Sometimes he does, yeah.
Yeah. And then I really liked that scene of him trying to cook.
Yeah. Well, I've never eaten before. You know, Paul Bentley, I mean, the dude went into Marvel movies thinking he's not going to need to do a lot of work. And he said that in interviews, and now he's like the most makeup one on the entire set. But no, he does such a great job. They're really setting up. If you didn't know, in the comics, Wanda and the Vision get married and have kids, and I don't know how you have kids with a robot, but comics are nonsense. So, but so they kind of set that up. If not, it's at least a nice nod to the people that do know that is a thing, and that's again what Marvel does really well is. As a nothing person, you can go into it and go, oh, that's nice, and they have a good interaction. And the people are like, oh, that's from, if you're a comic fan, like, oh, they're going to totally bang later.
Yeah. And I do like how they did set up in the Infinity Stones where he was saying, I don't know what this is, but I want to find out.
Right.
That's one of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah. I keep hearing that's either the mind or soul. Different people say
I thought it was mind.
See, I thought it was soul, but I mean, I could be totally wrong. I'm not setting my foot down on which one it is, but
it's probably something totally different. It's heart.
Heart. But it's I've heard the mind a lot, but I've also heard soul. It's one of those two. Doesn't really matter either way.
So, final thoughts.
It's really good. I don't know if it's better than Deadpool or not. It's really close. It's like, do you prefer a blowjob or a rim job? Like, they're both really good.
I don't compare the two. I would say it's because Deadpool to me was a far different movie.
It was, yeah.
Almost different genres, in my mind.
A little bit.
Like, that was more of a comedy action. This was more of a epic superhero.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a little bit more straightforward superhero.
I would compare this to Batman v Superman before I would Deadpool.
Well, just out of my favorite movies of the year, because Deadpool was at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Does this one take that top spot? I don't know yet.
So, touching a little bit on Deadpool since we're on the subject, I heard today that Dolph Lundgren wants to play Cable.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I don't know, I'm down for it.
He's got the look, but dude acts like a shoebox.
I like Dolph Lundgren.
And Cable's. I've read a lot of Cable comics in my day, so he's like I know him and his motivations, everything. And Dolph's not a deep guy. He's all surface.
Kindergarten Cop 2. I haven't seen it yet. All right. Well,
Yes.
yep. We both love the movie. I say
Great
go
movie.
see it.
Yeah.
Comment below and let us know what you thought. Tell us what spoilers that you picked up. What did you like? What did you didn't? Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. And I will see you on the next video.